All right, guys, welcome to the Cover 3 podcast. Due to some scheduling we did wrong, we won't be covering every division in depth like we hoped to with the AFC, so we're going to take a big picture look, and we're starting with the AFC South since they're the worst division.
By far.
First place will probably be, why am I even saying probably? It's going to be the Colts.
Right.
Weak teams in that division. Offensively, Andrew Luck, one of the best young quarterbacks in the league, if not the best young quarterback in the league. They went out and signed Frank Gore and Andre Johnson. That's going to be helpful wide receiver-wise and a great improvement over what they had running back-wise last year. T.Y. Hilton's there, big concern. Obviously, that offensive line has not improved. And luckily, Andrew Luck's a guy who can move the pocket and scramble outside and pick up yards if need be. But if I'm the Colts, I want Andrew Luck to be able to sit back in the pocket, make the reads, make the throw, not have to check it down to a tight end or something every other play. I think this team is going to be greatly improved. I could see them going 11-5 again this year, maybe 12-4, push for the number one spot in the AFC when playoffs come around, have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. But that offensive line worries me too much, and the defense really hasn't shown that they can stop anybody, as we saw in the AFC Championship game last year against the Patriots. They did go out and sign Trent Cole, but Trent Cole's a 4-3 pass rusher. We saw the 3-4 didn't work out well in Philly, but they still have good players. Vontae Davis, great corner. The safeties, I'm not too sure about.
If you don't know who they are, they're not good.
Yeah, there's no one who's really a big standout. They've always been kind of trying to find that replacement since they lost Antoine Bethea, and they haven't found anyone who can really fill that hole yet. I think LaRon Landry is still there, maybe?
He might be, yeah.
All right, Tristan?
This team defensively, they still have a lot of question marks. I just don't think they have enough. I mean, who's going to get after the passer? There's no more Mathis there. Who's going to, if not him, then who is it? How are they going to stop the run? I was reading an article the other day about their best run stopper just got hurt again. They signed him to a 5-year, $35 million extension a few years ago. He's only played in something like 8 games in 3 years. It's just not good enough, and they're going to have problems. Pagano will scheme it up, but that's only going to take you so far. You can beat the Jacksonvilles, the Houstons, and the Tennessees of the world, but when you get up against the big dogs, when you get to the New Englands and the Pittsburghs and the Broncos, it's the same old story for the Colts. I mean, listen, they can go 11-5 or 12-4. It doesn't matter. They're not going to get the number one seed because they're not going to beat any good teams because they cannot stop the good teams in this league. So, it's the same story for me. I mean, I think this team, their ceiling, it can only go as high as the defense takes them because we know the offense is going to do their thing. But as Jeff said, even that has its limitations with the offensive line. I mean, when you look at Andrew Luck play New England the last 2 years, you're looking at a guy who has gotten blown out twice. I could be wrong, but I think New England scored 100 points in 2 games. And I think in those 2 playoff games, and I think Andrew Luck scored something like 21 points. Part of that's because they can't protect him. And New England ain't even got no pass rusher.
That's why Chandler Jones really paid off.
I mean, yeah, they don't have, but that's why they don't have, legitimate 12, 13 sack guys.
They don't have
Justin Houston, J.J. Watt guys. They don't have those guys, and they're putting the whooping on that offensive line. So, when they run up against teams that can get after the quarterback, they're going to have a hard time because I still don't believe that offensive line is good enough. They're good, like I said, they're going to have some good games against the lesser defenses. But looking at their schedule, Jeff,
Buffalo week 1.
We both think they're going to have a hard time against Buffalo. New York Jets the next week have a good defensive line.
Tennessee.
Yeah, then you get your division.
Jacksonville and Houston. And then Patriots. Well, the only good thing about that is that they have the Patriots at home.
Right.
And it's a primetime game, and I'm pretty sure it's a Sunday night game. So, everyone's going to be watching. That's going to be their first real big test.
Mm-hmm. So, when you keep going to the schedule, let me just, okay, Denver, Atlanta, Tampa, Pittsburgh, Miami. Yeah, I mean, they 11-5. That's what, to me, it looks like 11-5.
Yeah.
No matter what their record is, they'll win the division. I mean, they're going to go 5-1 at the very least in the division, probably 6-0.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, Jeff, they're still a second-tier AFC team that until they can beat the big boys, and that means stopping them first and then protecting their quarterback second on a consistent basis, I don't think that they can do much more than that. Although getting the number 1 or number 2 seed would help. But at the end of the day, in the playoffs, if you're a stronger team, you're going to win most of the time.
Right. Okay, moving on. We'll just take the Houston Texans because they're probably the second best team in this division.
Yeah.
Quarterback problems. We don't really know who's going to be the starting quarterback.
It's Brian Hoyer.
Brian Hoyer. Okay. I must have missed that.
Yeah.
I think we'll see Ryan Mallett at some point this season. Arian Foster is lost for a major part of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Andre Johnson gone. Can DeAndre Hopkins fill what is a very big void? Obviously, the strength of this team is the defense with J.J. Watt, Jadeveon Clowney, Vince Wilfork was added, Jonathan Joseph,
yeah. And
Glover
Cushing's back.
Oh, yeah, Cushing is back. They did lose Brooks Reed for the season, didn't they?
Who?
Brooks Reed?
I did not. I don't know. I don't know if they did or not. They could have.
I'm pretty sure he's hurt. Until they can beat the Colts, they're second place. 8-8, maybe 9-7.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got probably. They start off against the Chiefs, then Carolina, then Tampa Bay. They were probably going to start off 0-2.
Heck, they could be 0-5. That's good. Atlanta and Indianapolis. I mean, those are all losable games.
True. Tampa Bay probably not though.
I say Tampa Bay because, I mean, you can make a case for Jameis Winston being better than Brian Hoyer.
That's true. But can Jameis Winston?
But he may not have. That's what I'm saying. He may not have to. It may be a low scoring game that he makes a play or two. And he's got big, strong wide receivers that just throw the jump ball up and wins the game.
You know? Mike Evans and Vincent Jackson.
Yeah. So.
I mean, I think I've pretty much said my piece about Houston.
Yeah, I mean, I think, DeAndre Hopkins is a big-time player. I think he's a superstar waiting to happen. I just hope that he does not have to travel the road that Andre Johnson did, and that's bad quarterbacks for most of your career, putting up numbers, but not a legitimate, threat at QB. So he's a superstar waiting to happen. But, I think their offense is more than functional. I think they're like an above-average offense. I think their offensive line is good enough, and I think they got enough in the passing game. Remember, they signed Cecil Shorts.
Yeah.
I think they have enough offensively. Defensively, obviously they've got enough. But it just comes down to Hoyer. I think that's really the key.
Comes down to quarterback play.
Yeah. Can he do enough? The one thing about the Texans that I will say, even though they have a good defense, their secondary is not an elite secondary. If you can get Watt blocked and Wilfork and Clowney, Johnson Joseph's good, but he's not nearly the player he was in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
They can be had a little bit, if you can protect. So I think this team is always sort of on the brink, and even with a good quarterback, they still may not be what we think. I think, are they second in the division? Yes, by virtue of the talent of the roster, but I don't know that it's necessarily that much of a sure thing. They can't beat Indy, though, and that's all that really matters. If you can't beat your division leader, then you're not going to – I mean, I saw an article saying they were going to go 11-5. I don't know what optimism they run through. Let's look at the schedule, though, Jeff, for the Texans.
Start off at home against Kansas City.
One. Yeah, okay, we were looking at that. So they could be 0-5. You got Kansas City, Carolina, Tampa Bay, Atlanta, and Indianapolis starting out before going to Jacksonville and Miami.
Mm-hmm.
You got Cincinnati on the schedule, and look at that, the Jets, New England, Buffalo. Yeah, they got a tough schedule. I mean, they really do. For them to be 11-5, I mean, Hoyer would have to be out of his mind. But we'll see. Anything can happen. So,
all right, third best team, probably Jacksonville Jaguars. They're definitely going to be much improved. Blake Bortles entering his second season. He's now got a grasp around the offense, and Gus Bradley is a good defensive-minded coach. They got T.J. Yeldon in the draft. They did lose Cecil Shorts. Justin Blackmon never really did pan out with all the suspensions and whatnot.
Out of the league right now.
Yeah, pretty much his career is over.
Yeah.
Tough schedule. They start off at home against Carolina and Miami, but then their next 3 games on the road in New England, Indy, and Tampa Bay. They're going to probably start off 0-5, but I could see the team maybe having an upset in one of those games and somehow finding a way to push through to 5-11, 6-10. I really don't know too much about the defense. I'm not afraid to say that. Jonathan Seibert, the safety, is probably their best player, though, on that defense that comes to mind immediately.
I like this team. This team, to me, is... I think they're up and coming. I think that even being third in their division, I believe that they will be more competitive than people think. They may lose 10 games. They may. But if they won 8 or 9, it wouldn't shock me either. Because I think Blake Bortles is going to take the next step. I do. I think he's got better protection this year. I think he's going to have at least a half-decent running game. And all his wide receivers are young, and they're in their second years. So they had that time to grow. He's got Julius Thomas to throw to now if he can get back on the field.
Yeah.
I like what I've seen from these guys in preseason, and I don't make a big deal out of preseason. But for a team that's trying to take a step and show improvement over a few seasons, I think they're most primed to take a leap. And even if the leap is from 4 wins to 7 wins, trust me, I don't see Jacksonville getting blown out in any of their games. Jeff referenced the defense. Their defense is going to be a little bit better than you think it is. Top 15 in my opinion. I think they're going to have a good enough defense, and I think Bortles is going to. I think he's going to show some people this year that Jacksonville may finally have a quarterback, and if that's the case, they'll do more than you think. I think they're better than 6 wins though. I don't know how much better, but I think really it just depends on how they play against Houston and Indianapolis. I think they can beat Houston, and I think they can beat Houston twice. To be honest with you, in terms of matchups, I think Bortles. What I've seen, I think he's better than Hoyer. But at the end of the day, the regular season is what counts. So let's see. But yeah, I think this is at least a 6 or 7 win team this year, and Jacksonville fans should be, they should be happy. This team's on the rise.
All right. Next up, Tennessee Titans. Obviously, we know about Marcus Mariota, Dorial Greenback, running game. Skanky, I believe, is the starter. That's
Sankey,
sorry.
You got me, man. Bishop Sankey.
Yeah, Bishop Sankey, thank you. This team's going to be better. Not by much, because there's still questions all over that team. Offensive line, defensive line.
How the heck do you get 4 straight home games?
Because you're Tennessee and you have the number 2 pick in the draft. I don't know. Ask the schedule makers. I don't make the schedule.
They got a chance.
But they're
4 straight home games. You know how many playoff teams wish they had that?
Yeah.
Sheesh.
But yeah, I mean, this team's going to be better than the 2-14 they posted last year. Maybe 4-12. Not out of the realm of possibility. Maybe even reach 6-10. I don't think that's going to happen. Defense is pretty good in the secondary. You still got Griffin there and Alteron Werner. Yeah, Alteron Werner.
No, actually, Werner's on Tampa Bay. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Probably because they play Tampa Bay week 1. That's why I'm thinking of him.
Where is he?
I don't know. Werner's
I think he is. I think he is with Tampa. Yeah.
Yeah, but this team's going to be better. I mean, we're just kind of struggling right now through the AFC South because it's not that good. Outside Indy, I mean, week 1, they got a good week 1 game. Mariota versus Winston. I already told you that I think Winston's going to win that game and that we're going to see a lot of passing, but that's because I think both defenses are incompetent, really, of stopping the other offense.
Possible. I think Tennessee, they have a chance to sneak up on people because if you got to go quarterback, then you have a chance in every game. I think Mariota, again, preseason, read into it what you will, but I will say this. I am not a Marcus Mariota fan, but he's shown me more than I thought that he would early on. He's shown the ability to go through progressions, hit the open man, run when he has to, not make that a default option. He's done better under center than I thought. They're going to run a lot of shotgun this year, which favors him. I think this team offensively, it just depends on how much he grows. I mean, I think you saw real growth in the preseason game to game. He made plays, and he can make plays with his legs a lot better than a lot of quarterbacks can. So, he's going to be able to keep them in game. Their offensive line is good. They got a good offensive line. So he should not be getting beat up, even when holding on to the ball a long time. They got a good offensive line. They should have a good running game. I think, I know people have talked about their receivers and they don't think they're that good, but man, Justin Hunter, Harry Douglas, Delaney Walker. I mean, they've got some guys. They're not world beaters, but they've got some talent on the offensive side of the ball, and Mariota's a guy who can get them the ball. So I think offensively they're going to be fine. Now, defensively is where they're going to struggle. They're probably going to have to win a lot of shootouts this year. They're not very good defensively. They got a Rakpo, but I don't know how much that matters because they just don't have what it takes to stop people on a consistent basis on a shutdown type basically. More of a bend and don't break defense. But hey, listen, this team, Mariota will win you a game or two on his talent alone. Again, if you can somehow, because you look at their schedule and they have a chance because they got Tampa Bay and Cleveland. Not exactly a for sure thing either one of those is a win or a loss. You got 4 straight home games against teams that are at least threatening to be in the playoffs. The Colts, the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Falcons. To me, Jeff, those 4 games, it'll say a lot about what their season's going to be. If they can come out of that unscathed, because they still got to play the AFC East, so they got a tough sled the rest of the way. But those 4 games are pretty big. You gotta take the bull by the horns. Even though those are tough opponents, if you can come out of that, 2-2, 3-1, you're within striking distance before that next game against Houston. So that's all you can ask for. I mean, this team is not going to win 13 games, but what they can do is with Mariota, if you can keep the game close, you got a chance. And I think he's a guy. He doesn't make mistakes. The guy threw, I think. In 3 years, I think he threw something like.
There's less than 5 interceptions.
He does not throw. He fumbles, but he doesn't throw interceptions.
He's good at protecting the ball.
So you got a guy who may be able to keep you in some ball games, and if that's the case, then the Titans can steal a few more and maybe do more than everybody thinks. All
right, moving a little bit quickly, we're going to go to the AFC North. This is a fun division to watch, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
You got 3 teams that are going to probably make playoffs.
And really, all 4 of them can.
Cleveland
can make the playoffs. All
right, well, let's start off with Cleveland.
We'll start with Cleveland. You're looking at a football team who's got question marks at the quarterback position, of course. That's really what stops most teams from getting to the playoffs. You got Josh McCown. I mean, he's okay. I mean, he's just okay. He's not gonna,
We'll see Johnny Manziel before the halfway point of the season.
That's a pretty healthy prediction, I think. They got a good defense.
Receivers are kind of because Gordon's out for this year with suspension. But they did sign Dwayne Bowe, but
I don't even know if he's making a team. They were saying he didn't even be making a team.
He made the 53-man roster. Terrell Pryor made the 53-man roster.
Okay, so you got Hartline, you got him. Benjamin, they've got a little bit of talent there, but
the strength of the team is the defense.
By far.
Joe Hayden, Taj Gibson, Justin Gilbert, if he can finally show up.
I don't even think his name should be mentioned. He's been that bad.
Okay.
I mean, he has been that bad. It's not from me. That's what the coaches are saying, that he's that bad.
No.
Their defense will keep them in game. McCown, to me, I don't know what to think of him. I mean, I see the guy in Chicago. He looks like a world beater, but then I forgot he was throwing to Marshall and Jeffrey. And then last year he was terrible. And then this year, in the preseason, I don't make a lot out of preseason games, as I've said before, but he looked awful in the preseason.
Yeah.
And that's not normal for a veteran to not look very good. So
he wasn't sharp at all. It was
not. Menzel constantly impressed. Did what the coaches asked him. You wonder what would have happened, Jeff, if he was able to play that third preseason game.
I think he would have taken the job if he was able to.
It's certainly possible.
He showed
we'll never know. But
he showed good decision making, and he finally, the ego is
out the door. Yeah,
he's not doing the money thing anymore.
But the one good thing about Josh McCown is he's facing some pretty weak defenses starting out here.
Yeah,
not the Jets. But the Titans, the Raiders, and the Chargers, they're not going to scare anybody.
Those are 3 winnable games.
So to me, if McCown is stinking it up, you may see a change sooner than later. Because I think they're ready to win now. I think they have a win-now roster. Their offensive line is one of the top 5 in the league. Okay, so you have enough offensively because you can protect. And you can plow holes in the run game.
Mm-hmm.
You need a quarterback who can manage the football game, but also can make plays when they're there to be made.
Right.
Can McCown do that on a regular basis? If he does, he'll keep the job, and he'll keep the job all year. But if he can't, because I wonder about that. I wonder about the games where Cleveland's defense does get scored on, when it's 24-14 in the fourth quarter.
When they're playing Denver in week 6.
Even Baltimore. Baltimore can put up some points. San Diego's going to put up some points. So, we will see. We will see that 3-game stretch, San Diego, Baltimore, and Denver, that's probably going to tell us a lot about Josh McCown and where they go in the quarterback situation, Joe.
Right. All right, let's go to Cincinnati Bengals. Maybe they won the division last year, didn't they? No, Pittsburgh won the division.
Pittsburgh did win because they were at home. Yeah, you're right.
Cincinnati, though, has made the playoffs every year since Andy Dalton has been there. Yet they can't get over the wild card hump.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any explanation for it.
I do. He just hasn't played well. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's the main explanation. But
and it's been the team as a whole. They haven't played well.
You can't put all. It's easy
I can't.
It's easy for people to push all the blame on Andy Dalton, but I don't think his job is in jeopardy, as many people are saying. I think he's a good quarterback.
Well, when you give a guy over $80 million, no, his job's not in jeopardy.
That too. But I think Andy Dalton's a very good quarterback. I think he's going to get this team going places sooner rather than later. A.J. Green is a top 10 talent at wide receiver, probably one of the best receivers in the AFC. But then there aren't very many good receivers in the AFC. That's something we're going to cover in a later podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Cincinnati, I like them offensively. Defensively, Geno Atkins, you know what he's going to do. Ray Maluga and Vontae Bursiffet going from undrafted to stud, essentially. The team's good. Leon Hall, still there, very good shutdown corner. Scheduling-wise, let's take a quick look here. You open up against Oakland. If you can't win against Oakland...
Hey man, that black hole, man. There's some places that you go to play, and I don't care how good you are or what team you have, you got a chance to lose. And the Coliseum is one of them places. Them fans get to, man, it's week 1. Now it feels like week 10, and I'd be like, well, yeah, they are better. They should win that game. Week 1, though, you can still be getting the Kings out. So if they lost, it wouldn't shock me. Now, are they better than Oakland by far? But, it's all about Andy Dalton, really.
Yeah, and we'll just have to see what happens. Week 2, first game at home against San Diego. Week 3, big test.
Early on, yep, Baltimore.
Actually, those next 5 games.
Ooh, look at that.
You got at Baltimore, home against Kansas City and Seattle, at Buffalo, at Pittsburgh. Yeah. Those 5 games could define the season. If Andy Dalton struggles and the defense struggles, we'll be talking about them sitting at home in January more than likely.
Yeah.
The
rest of the schedule ain't no easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I look at this team, Jeff, this is a Super Bowl ready roster.
Yeah.
This is a Super Bowl ready roster, and the only reason we haven't talked about them is we're waiting on the quarterback to emerge. Mm-hmm. But they've got talent in the backfield.
Oh, definitely.
They got talent at wide receiver, one of the top wide receivers in the game in A.J. Green.
And they got good tight end play.
Tyler Eifert is by himself this year. No Jermaine Gresham to take touches away. Can he stay healthy? Hasn't been healthy the first 2 years.
We'll see. I think he'll be healthy.
I think he'll be. Hey, I drafted him. I hope he's healthy. But their defense, we know it can play. Not as good as when Zimmer was there, but they're still good enough. Their roster's ready to compete. They're ready to take on the likes of anybody in the AFC. But as we all know, it all comes down to Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
And, Jeff, unfortunately for the Bengals, the process of getting to the playoffs is not even the most important thing. However, in their division, they got to worry about Pittsburgh, the Ravens, and the Browns. Because even the Browns, with their quarterback, they're still not an easy out.
Yeah.
So they got to get there first. Then we got to talk about, can they win a playoff game?
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, I put it on Andy. I know the team hasn't played well in the 3 playoff games, but he's played exceptionally bad. The first 2 games they played the Texans, he put up, I think, 1 touchdown in each game.
Yeah.
It's not good enough to win.
No.
It's just not good enough to win.
It's not.
You play the Chargers then, and the defense played well enough, then the offense did. Again, Andy Dalton. And last year, everybody was hurt. A.J. Green was hurt. Ben Tate was hurt. So I couldn't put it all on Andy Dalton because he really didn't have anybody.
No, he was just trying to do what he could with.
Yeah, and they played everybody week 17 because a win would have gotten them a home game, winning the division, and they wound up losing, and it cost them everybody. So it was, you have to take that gamble, even though they were already in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But, I mean, how many times can you say with Andy Dalton, okay, this is the year, okay, this is the year? And I think he can do it. Mm-hmm. But until he does it, the Bengals will always just be a good team instead of a great one.
All right, let's go to Baltimore next. Joe Flacco, Justin Forsett, Steve Smith Sr., final year. Is he going to try and pull a could his spur of this being my last season pull the same spur that Ray Lewis? Probably not, but you know what you're going to get out of them. Great defense, pretty good offense. I'm interested to see if Philip Dorsett is ever going to take to the field. I've been waiting for that since training camp.
Cool.
Philip Dorsett, the rookie wide receiver they drafted, to try and fill the hole that Torrey Smith.
I thought you were talking about Rashad Perriman.
Rashad Perriman,
yeah.
Sorry. Philip Dorsett's with the Colts, I think. Yeah, but Rashad Perriman.
Yeah, that is the Colts, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But Perriman hasn't taken the field yet at all. I think he was in like the first few days of training camp and then got hurt. Can the defense do what it always does without Haloti Ngata? That's going to be interesting. No Haloti Ngata for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
That's a tough loss to take, but you still got Terrell Suggs. You got C.J. Mosley, who is kind of, I hate to say this, but I think a few people have forgotten that Ray Lewis was a Raven at one time with the way C.J. Mosley.
Calm that action.
Yeah, just saying. C.J. Mosley is a very good middle linebacker, and Terrell Suggs can do it all. Jimmy Smith, very good corner, very able of shutting down some of the top receivers in the league. Start off at home or on the road against Denver. Let's hope it doesn't turn out like the last time you guys played Denver in their house when Peyton Manning threw 7 touchdowns. Don't think that's going to happen again. That's one of those once-in-a-lifetime type opportunities. I don't think Peyton's going to do it. But this is my favorite one in the division. I think they're the best team in the division by
you
far.
think Baltimore's the best team, yeah. I mean, listen, you can make an argument for Baltimore, Pittsburgh, or Cincinnati. I mean, the fact that they've all won the division in the past 5 years just shows you that they,
and
that
you got
the depth is there.
And Pittsburgh and Baltimore have both been in the Super Bowl. One of them won it.
Yeah, so, when I look at Baltimore, first of all, Joe Flacco, he's done more than I ever thought he'd do. I was a big basher of Joe Flacco, but the guy can flat out play. He's a cool customer. He's got a big-time arm.
Joe Cool?
He can play. He can play the game of football. He's got my respect now for the rest of the time. And if you get Joe in the playoffs, he can get hot and he can make a run. Because he's, first of all, the number 1 active quarterback, road winning percentage in the playoffs. That's huge. Because you know you're going to play good at home. But Baltimore, they go on the road, they got as good a chance as the home team to win that game because Joe's cool. Mm-hmm. So I like Baltimore. I think that the key for me for them is this. Gary Kubiak leaving was pretty big because I thought Joe Flacco had the perfect offense. He had a guy who 55-45 pass-run ratio was balanced. Then you're talking about
Mark Trestman taking.
He was able to use his arm, get that ball deep down the field from the play-action passes. They gave him space in the pocket. I love the offense they ran for him. I just thought it was a perfect fit. I want to see how that offense progresses now without Kubiak around.
Can Mark Trestman?
Yeah, can Trestman come in, get it done? We'll see. I mean, he didn't exactly light it up, and he had skill position players all over the place in Chicago. So they played horrible last year. I mean, we'll see. They got a good line. We'll see how it progresses. They got a couple big tight ends now. Max Williams. Then they drafted another kid.
They are without Dennis Pitta for the first few games.
There you go. So they got their challenges for sure. Defensively, can they take another step forward? Are we ever going to see that era, what we saw from the Ravens from, when the Ray Lewis was there? And it wasn't just because of him, but they had good playmakers.
They had Ed Reynolds. Or not Ed Reynolds, Ed Reed, sorry.
They had Ed Reynolds too, actually. But anyway, or not, no, I'm thinking of Tom Zibikowski. That's what I was thinking of. But are we ever going to see this defense get back to, say, top 15? Can they get back to that level to where, they not necessarily carry the team, but they're a strength of the team, I don't know. Ladarius Webb been hurt the last 2 years. Jimmy Smith, he's a good corner. Matt Elam, I believe, is out for the season. Yeah. So they've got some challenges. But if they can overcome them, listen, to me it's only them, and I still think Cincinnati is a factor because, in my opinion, top to bottom, Cincinnati has the most talented roster in the division. Mm-hmm. But they don't have a quarterback, and you have to factor that in. So, to me, it's probably them or Pittsburgh. But Baltimore, hey, can they get in? If they can get in,
they'll get in.
They can win it.
They'll get in. We know they're going to get in. Pittsburgh, Big Ben. I mean, does the guy get sacked? Even if you get through the offensive line, you're not going to bring Big Ben down by yourself. You got to have 2-3 guys on top of him for him to even flinch. It feels like sometimes. Can't wait to see what Dre Archer does. And I honestly think they have the best receiver in the AFC with Antonio. Throw me the ball, I'll catch it somehow, some way. Brown. I mean, this team. The only problem is the defense that was once so feared and vaunted. It's old. Troy Polamalu gone. There's your leader. The team's good. They'll find a way to make playoffs because it's Pittsburgh. I mean, they're going to have their challenges this year with Baltimore and Cincinnati and maybe even Cleveland. Who knows? Cleveland could surprise. Really though, I think I know Levante Bell is suspended at least for the first game. Is it more than that?
Oh, Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell. I think he's just suspended the first game. Once they get him back, Big Ben and that offense will roll. Le'Veon Bell is a very good running back. And I don't really see, a lot of too tough games on here outside of New England, Baltimore. Arizona could give them troubles. Kansas City, Cincinnati. Seattle will be tough. Indy doesn't scare me. Denver doesn't scare me that much. But, Pittsburgh's ready to roll. They have a Super Bowl ready roster if the defense can stay healthy and the young guys can start to step up and fill in the holes that were left by the Troy Polomalus, the James Harrisons, the Lawrence Timmons ain't getting any younger. Let's face facts. It's time for those young guys to step in and fill those roles that they've drafted over the past few years.
Hey, we'll see. I mean, this is a team that's looked awful in preseason defensively. Holes all over the place. They're making backup QBs look like Joe Montana. I mean, they have been awful, Jeff. I don't know if you watched the game. I watched 2 Steelers games. It's not good. Yeah. And like I said, I don't put stock in preseason, but there's certain times you have to take something for what it is, and they're a young team. They're a young defense. So for them to be making mistakes, it means something. Mm-hmm. Pound for pound, Antonio Brown is the best receiver in the NFL. Not just the AFC, the NFL. The guy can do everything that a 6'3" receiver can do, and he can do a little bit better. he has amazed me with the way he's come on. He is the best route runner in the league. He is the best at getting off the jam in the league. He probably has the best hands in the league. There's no route that he can't run. He does not have a limited route tree. He can go deep, he can go post, he can go, he can double move you, he can go in, he can go out, he can go slant, he can go drag, anything. He can do it. And he can beat double coverage. I mean, I love the guy. I do. And he's got a quarterback throwing to him that can make plays when things break down. I mean, it's a scary combination, Jeff. Mm-hmm. And that's why they're so good together. But Ben Roethlisberger's, he's underrated. I mean, I think people finally saw last year, wow, this guy can play quarterback. He's really good. Which
it's
sad that why they didn't know that, but
it's sad that it took this long because he's won 2 Super Bowls.
Well, I think people looked at the Super Bowls, and as I've always heard people tell me, the Super Bowls were the defense won them. I laughed at him because the Arizona game, Ben run all by himself.
Yeah.
But he's a legit, in my list, he's top 5. Mm-hmm. I know people have their top 5, but he's always been in my top 5 because the guy can flat out throw the football accurately. He doesn't turn it over that much. Their offense, as we said, they're going to be good on offense. They're going to be fine. Now, the Pouncey loss is a big one. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, it's not a season-ending one, I don't think.
I think he's on PUP.
Okay, so first 6 weeks. So they'll feel that. They will feel that. Maybe a little more max protect. But look, man, you got Antonio Brown. You can still get it up. Martavius Bryant being out the first 4 games.
That's a bit of a loss.
That's a loss. I mean, you saw what he was doing this preseason. He tearing the doors off.
And they still have Heath Miller. And also, let's not forget the biggest signing of all, Michael Vick.
I mean, yeah, Michael Vick. We'll see what happens with Michael Vick. But,
hey, you never know.
I mean,
you never
listen,
know.
This is a good football team. This team is going to go only as far as its defense takes them. When you look at their schedule.
I don't have a pull up.
When you look at their schedule, New England obviously is a big as much as I want to take Pittsburgh in that game, I'm not even sure if I will. I'd have to look at that again. They got the NFC West this year, and they got the AFC West this year. So they got a little bit of a tough sled here. I mean, in addition to their own division, as usual. So, you know.
This team will go as far as the defense can carry them.
That's it. And their last 4 games, they got 3 of them on the road. I mean, that's huge. So they got to finish strong. And that last home game is against Denver. So, listen, they're going to have it tough. If they make the playoffs, they will have really earned it, just like every AFC North team. Mm-hmm. I still give them the advantage over the Bengals because of the quarterback. But outside of that, between them and Pittsburgh, to me, it's a push.
Yeah. Okay, let's...
between them and Baltimore.
All right, let's head to the AFC West. We're going to try and speed it up a little bit more because this video is starting to get kind of long. Okay, let's start off with Oakland. Derek Carr, Amari Cooper. Who's the running back?
Latavius Murray.
Latavius Murray, thank you. I wanted to say DeMarco Murray, but I knew that was wrong.
Yeah.
They start off at home against Cincinnati. Like we said, that's kind of a toss-up because the teams are still trying to find their identity. I can't wait to see Amari Cooper. After seeing what he did in college, if it translates well over to the NFL, Amari Cooper could be Rookie of the Year. We could see a deadly combo starting to emerge. Oakland is going to be probably a game or two better than last year. The defense still leaves a lot to be desired. Charles Woodson ain't getting any younger, and I think he announced that this is his last year.
We'll see.
I mean, Charles Woodson may be ageless, but last year we finally did see him to lose a step. Tyvon Branch is probably the best player on their defense. Can Justin Tuck get back to the form he was in with the Giants? Last year he wasn't, and I don't know if he was playing through injury or not. I was on the bandwagon with everyone that thought Oakland was going to go 0-16. Then Derek Carr stepped in and showed we're a better team than what everyone thinks. I think they're going to ground and pound a lot because it's Jack Del Rio, and he likes to run the ball. But with Amari Cooper there, that adds a lot more depth to a, at best, decent receiving core. You got the big playmaker. The defense is going to have to step up, obviously. Defense wins games. Offense can carry this team into some interesting competitions. Do I think they're going to do anything inside the division? They might beat San Diego once They could have an upset against Kansas City, but I don't think they'll beat Denver. Even Kansas City, I think they don't beat, but you never know. Sometimes those upsets come out of nowhere.
I mean, this is a team that's on the rise, obviously. I think they finally have a foundation, and that foundation is quarterback Derek Carr, Jeff. I mean, and they got a young running back in Murray, too. I mean, they finally got something to build around. They got a wide receiver in Amari Cooper that he's going to do some special things if he stays on the field. And I think they're going to be, like I said, a game or two better. Derek Carr can really throw the football. He can really, really throw it. I like I say, I always admit when I'm wrong, and I was wrong about him. I mean, because I watched him in college. I mean, he came from that kind of multiple system where, it was spread, and, he played against weak defenses. But last year he showed a good ability to protect the football and stay out of bad situations more times than not. I mean, he had to take a lot of checkdowns, but, that's better than turning it over. And he didn't do that. And I think now he's got a couple weapons. I mean, Crabtree, I wouldn't necessarily say is a weapon, but he's still better than what he had last year. So, if he's a number two, good. That's fine. They're going to be okay offensively, maybe better than above average, but defensively, I mean, I don't know if they're going to stop anybody. But at the end of the day, the Raiders, they're still fourth place, but they're finally going somewhere, I feel like. I feel like they're finally building something.
Next up is the San Diego Chargers. Phillip Rivers got that big contract that he wanted. Did he deserve it? Kind of. He's gotten San Diego deep in the playoffs, but he still hasn't made that push into the Super Bowl. The defense worries me a lot, and I'm not even going to hold back on it. They have small corners. They go up against guys like Demaryius Thomas in this division twice.
Jeremy Macklin's a big guy, too.
He's
bigger than I thought he was.
He's 6 foot even.
Yeah.
But
when you see him, he looks like he's 6'2", and you're like, gee.
Yeah. And week 1, they play against Calvin Johnson and Golden Tate.
Yeah, have fun with that, San Diego.
I still don't understand the huge contract you guys gave Brandon Flowers.
Oh, my God. I was going to say that. I mean... Jeff, I could spend a whole podcast on that. Like, there's no way that guy should have $45 million, 20-plus guaranteed. He's not, and he didn't even play but like 10 games last year. Like, there's no way. There's no way you can look at him and say he's deserving of a big contract. I mean, me and you should be able to go out and get at least $10 million. I mean, because he's not good. Brandon Flowers is not good.
There's a reason Kansas City let him walk.
Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm just mad about that.
Honestly, I don't have too much to say other than I'm really excited to see Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the big draw to this team. Running back Melvin Gordon. Have they finally found a replacement for LaDainian Tomlinson? 4 years later?
Right. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, this football team to me is still third at best. I mean, people picking this team to be better than the Chiefs and the Broncos, who they went 1-3 against last year. And by the way, I'm sorry, they went 0-4 against them. They didn't beat either of them. I'm sorry.
Oh, they beat Kansas City.
No.
Oh, okay.
Kansas City swept them. Denver swept them.
Oh, that's right. The last game was when Justin Houston finished half a sack shy.
So I don't see it. The Chiefs got better. The Broncos, you could make an argument they got better because of their defense and their offensive coordinator now. I mean, they're not better than either of those two teams. How does anybody think San Diego is going to surpass them? Their defense is nowhere near the level of those two teams' defense. And then their offense, they have a better offensive line. Their offensive line averages 6'5", 330. That's the one good thing about San Diego. Can they turn that into something, though? Will Phillip Rivers not pass it 40 times? That's what I'm saying.
That's the big
We don't know. We don't know. Until I see Mike McCoy do it, I'm not going to believe it. Right. So this team is still number one throwing team. Now they got some weapons. Now they got Stevie Johnson now. The Gates is suspended, but that gives the door open for Ladarius Green. To make some plays. So listen, they've got some guys. Woodhead's back. That's huge. I think this team has a chance, obviously, to beat every team in their division. But defensively, they didn't get better. That's the problem. They didn't get better defensively, and last year they were bottom 15 defensively. So if you didn't get better defensively, that means you still can't stop Peyton Manning, and you still can't stop the Chiefs' offense either. So, but both their defenses can stop your offense, which is the strength of your team. So, I think this team still is third, Jeff. I mean, to me, short of injuries, I don't see a reason they don't finish same way.
All right. We're not going to be covering the schedules as much anymore because we are starting to hit close to an hour mark on this. Denver, second place. Peyton Manning is turning, I believe, 39 this year.
It's funny how you didn't hesitate saying that either.
What? That Peyton Manning's
No, Denver, second place.
Oh, yeah. No, I just don't think Denver is as good as Kansas City.
Yeah.
I think Kansas City's the more complete team.
Yeah.
Denver got, Demaryius Thomas. Whoop-dee. I'm sorry. I don't think Demaryius Thomas is as good as everyone makes him out to be. We saw what he did with.
Oh, slow your roll there, partner.
I'm not
he's
saying
elite now.
I'm not saying he's not a tier 1 elite guy. I'm just saying I think a lot of people hype him up a lot more than what they should.
Yeah, we'll have that discussion later.
Yeah. But really, this team, defensively, can they slow down the Chiefs when they play them? We'll see week 2 right away. Can Peyton Manning recover from a short week? He's not the spring chicken that he once was.
That is true. That is true. That is true.
I mean,
and that place is going to be rocking. Not just because it's the first home game, Jeff, but when Eric Berry comes out of that tunnel.
Oh, very strong.
God.
Very strong. I got my very strong T-shirt ready for that Thursday night game.
They're gonna have such a boost from that.
Yeah.
I don't see how the Broncos walk in there and take that game.
And
I don't see that.
I mean, Von Miller is still one of the best, if not the best, outside linebacker.
Yeah.
He's
contract year.
Contract year. He's got to come out. He's got to come out and
put
it. He's got to
kill it.
He's gonna
17 sacks at least, man. I'm calling it.
Yeah, but Denver, you got to find a way to beat Kansas City. You'll beat the Chargers, you'll beat the Raiders, but can you stop Kansas City? Kansas City has a good defense. And the only reason Kansas City wasn't really in those games last year,
offensive line.
Whew,
God, it was good.
Injured and no good wide receiver. How many wide receivers had a touchdown last year for Kansas City? I can count them all on one hand.
Right.
0.
Right.
And I guess this is a good way to segue into Kansas City. Eric Berry coming back, huge boost for the defense. And Justin Houston getting his big time contract. Is he going to put up the 20 sacks he had last year? I don't know. People are going to be game planning from now, but that leaves pathways open for Tamba Hali
and D Ford.
Because
they're playing them more this year.
And Derek Johnson is back. He tore his ACL last year. That was a huge loss for the team. They go out and sign Jeremy Maclin. You finally got a good wide receiver who is a big guy, a fast guy. Alex Smith has weapons to throw to now. And you still got Jamal Charles out of the backfield who can do it all. He can run. He can block. He can catch. He might even be able to pass. We don't know. We don't know.
They're a good football team, Joe. I think a lot of fans on here are probably thinking we're crazy taking the Chiefs over Denver. To me, it really does come down to that Week 2 game. The Chiefs have to prove they can beat Denver because Peyton Manning, I believe, is 15-1 against them since joining the division. That's a big record.
Yeah.
That's no easy thing to just overcome. But to me, there's no better way to do it. Short week, at home, early in the season. You've got a much better team than you had pretty much maybe ever. And Alex Smith finally has some weapons to get the ball down the field to, which I think he will. And we didn't talk about that, but Macklin's a huge addition.
Travis Kelce,
he's gonna benefit from the attention they show to Macklin. Defenses are gonna have to game plan. They're not gonna be okay. We'll just stick a corner on you and have safety help. They're gonna have to game plan against them. The Chiefs' entire season comes down to the offensive line. But you could say the same thing for the Broncos.
Yeah, they lost Ryan Clady.
Yeah,
but
And the
Chiefs' offensive line got better. They went out and traded for Ben Grubb, and Eric Fisher's coming into his.
I think he'll take that next step this year.
This is the year he has to take.
He has to, yeah. So I agree. To me, these teams are so even. It's kind of scary. Obviously, Peyton Manning's better than Alex Smith.
Yeah.
And I would still take Emmanuel Sanders and
Demaryius
Thomas over who the Chiefs have, but it's not like they're so much farther behind. Now that you have Kelsey, now that you have Macklin, you've got game breakers. You still have Jamal Trey. You're better at running back.
Yeah.
They're better at receivers. So you're still even.
Yeah.
So this to me, week 2 is the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe that. I don't even care about the rest of the schedule for the Chiefs. They have to beat Denver. That's all it comes down to for them. They have to beat Denver. And if they do, I think you see a change into the guard because I think it's going to give them so much confidence. Even though after that, I think they play Green Bay after that.
Yeah, Monday nighter.
Yeah, because you get 10 days to prepare for that game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just think.
And last year,
even if they lose to Houston, their whole season is week 2.
And this is kind of a mute point because last season I'm referring back to. Kansas City was the only team to beat both the Patriots and Seattle. They beat both Super Bowl teams.
So it just tells you they're competent. They're able to beat the elite teams in the league.
Yeah.
They just have to do it. I think week 2 they finally do, Jeff, and I think this team's, to me, they're the...
It will be like they won the Super Bowl in that stadium if they beat Denver.
Well, I think they know that the season could be special. If you beat Denver...
Watch out.
Yeah.
Okay, finally, AFC East. Last place, New York Jets. Quarterback problems. Geno Smith out. Even when Geno Smith comes out, if Ryan Fitzpatrick comes and plays out of his mind, he's not going to get the job back. Got Darrelle Revis and Antonio Cromartie back together again. That's going to be a happy day in their first home game.
If you can believe it, Jeff, this is the hardest division for me to pick.
Really?
Because I know that it looks so easy because, okay, Patriots won. But after that, it's very hard to say. Even though Tannehill is a good quarterback, the Dolphins' defense is good, but it's not on the level of the Jets or the Bills.
Yeah.
When you look at the Jets, with Fitzpatrick, listen, he threw 6 touchdowns in the game last year. We're not talking about a complete and total bum here.
No, I'm not. No, and he was good in Buffalo also.
Yeah, and you, if he manages the game, lets the defense do its thing, because it's going to be great. Mm-hmm. He's got weapons on offense. Yeah. They've got a good enough offensive line. They're going to run the football first. They could surprise. But you could say the same thing about the Bills. And so that's why it was so hard for me to pick it, because I'm looking at it saying the Jets have talent on both sides of the football. Mm-hmm. They have a quarterback who's capable. Now, we don't know if he's going to go crazy. But the one thing that I did look at is he's in Chan Gailey's offensive system where he had his most success in his career.
Right.
So I know you're picking the Jets for it. I don't know who I would put at fourth if they're not fourth. That's why it was so hard for me, because I don't think Dolphins are a fourth place team. I don't think the Bills are either. Obviously not New England.
Yeah.
So this to me was a hard division to pick.
It is a tough division to pick. And
because everybody else's strength is somebody else's weakness.
Right.
The Jets' strength is the Patriots' weakness. The Patriots' strength is the Jets' weakness. The Bills' strength is the Patriots' weakness and the Dolphins' weakness, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So, it's hard.
I mean, we might as well just cover all these teams at one time.
Go ahead.
Buffalo, honestly, is my favorite. Somehow, surprised.
We both agree on Buffalo being the team that probably has the most upside, probably has the best chance of beating New England.
They have the most complete roster.
Yes, they do.
They traded for LaShawn McCoy. They had to give up Kiko Alonso. You got Percy Harvin, Sammy Watkins, Robert Woods.
I love Marquise Goodwin. I love their wide receiver. I love them.
The biggest
Charles Clay.
Yeah. The only question I have really is Tyrod Taylor as good as Rex Ryan thinks?
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
If he isn't, at least they can fall back.
We'll see.
If he isn't, they can fall back to E.J. Manuel, who was very good last year until he got hurt. Mm-hmm. The defense.
Nasty.
Possibly the best front seven in the NFL.
Possibly.
I mean,
I'd probably put the Chiefs there, but
yeah. I mean,
they're pretty good though. I mean, this team, you're talking about Darius, Kyle Williams, Mario Williams. I mean, they got some guys that. I mean, they're going to get after it. They're really going to get after it. And with Rex's blitz schemes, they're going to be hard. They're going to be real hard to play against, Jeff. And I think the number one thing for them, they're going to stop the run.
Oh yeah.
They're going to stop the run, and then Rex is going to come after you, and it's going to be real hard. It really is. So I think you're right about that. Let's move on to the Dolphins, and I think Tannehill, I love him. I really do.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for Tannehill. He's come a long way. The guy was a wide receiver for the year before he went to be a quarterback and got taken early in the draft, and he's progressed every year. Mm-hmm. Touchdowns up, interceptions down every year he's been in the league. Got a big deal this offseason. I think he's got enough weapons offensively.
Yeah.
The question for him, again, is the offensive line, really.
Yeah.
They lost Pouncey, and that's huge.
And can they, keep Tannehill upright?
And they lost Brandon Albert, too, I believe.
I think he's on PUP, but that's still 6 games without him.
It is still, yeah.
The defense, obviously, we all know they signed Ndamukong Suh. They got a good defense with him there now. They actually, and that's going to open. Ndamukong Suh is going to demand a double team, so you can't double team Cameron Wake anymore. You're going to pick your poison. Who do you double team on this play? Do we do Ndamukong Suh? Do we block Cameron Wake?
That's going to be a hard front to block. I mean, because Ndamukong Suh, you can see in the preseason the type of things that he's able to do in terms of demanding attention, and it still didn't matter sometimes.
Yeah.
They destroyed the Falcons' offensive line. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're going to do that to a lot of teams this year, Joe. Patriots included.
Yeah.
I mean, these teams, listen, you come in to blocking Suh and Wake, and it's going to be 60 minutes. 3 defenses in this division, you're going to have to game plan for 60 minutes because you're not going to get a break.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a break. And I mean, we're going to see. We're going to see exactly if these 3 teams can step up and take that crown from the Patriots.
And the Patriots have won the division, I believe, every year since Tom Brady's become the starter, except the year he was hurt.
But to me, though, I like the team's game plan because, listen, you're not going to beat Brady if you got a great offense.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to beat him if you can stop him.
Yeah. And, I mean, we all know the Patriots, Brady's got his 4-game suspension lifted. Everyone's probably heard of that by now.
That's the most we're going to say about that.
Yeah, we're not going to cover it.
Nope.
Everyone knows about it. That it doesn't matter. Well, it matters, but it doesn't matter to the
degree that everybody else thinks it matters.
Gronkowski, best tight end in the league, hands down. He can do it all. He can block. He can pass. You can put him out wide receiver. Julian Edelman last
doesn't
year.
justify a high draft pick for me, but
yeah. Julian Edelman, he's very capable. Outside and slot. Everyone thought they were so hurt when they lost Wes Welker, and they really haven't been. Yeah. The defense, the secondary's got some question marks since he lost Darrell Reeves and Brandon Browner. You still got Devin McCourty, at least. Other than that, I really don't have too much really to say about New England. The defense has question marks. You still got Tom Brady, who's one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL ever. I think we can say that after winning 4 Super Bowls. No matter if it was cheating or not, you still had to go play those games.
To me, here's the key for me with New England. Every year, Jeff, they have this early season swoon where 4 or 5 games in, they look awful. Everybody's writing them off. Then they turn around. Next thing you know, they're in the AFC Championship game of the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. It's easy to say this now, but I think this season, if they come out slow like that, I don't think they're going to be able to catch up. And the reason I say that,
this is a
it actually has nothing to do with the rest of the AFC, but their division is hard.
That's what I was going to say. This year, their division actually has the capability of saying, we can stop you.
Yeah.
You can't start off slow this year, New England. You have to start fast. You have to go out and win those first 2-3 games. You can't fall, 0-2.
Okay. Yeah, and they, I mean, at Buffalo week 2, so it immediately begins for them. The Patriots have a lot of early season tests because Pittsburgh, yes, but I think, to be honest with you, I would be surprised if they lost. Mm-hmm. But at Buffalo, the Jacksonville's a win. At Dallas, at Indy, the Jets, those are all losable games. Miami, maybe not because it's at home. Washington, no. The Giants, no. Buffalo, Denver, Philly. I mean, you can lose all 3 of those games. At Houston, hey, if you can get after Brady. And, I mean, they got a little tougher sled. They got a little tougher sled this year. That's all I'm saying. Don't expect them to go 13-3 because I don't think it's going to happen. I don't care how hot Tom Brady comes out of the gate. He may rip Pittsburgh's defense to shreds, and you'll see the headlines of, oh, same old Brady, he's the greatest. But Pittsburgh's defense is not any of the rest of those teams in that division's defense.
Right.
They're going to come to play when they play number 12.
All right. Well, we're going to cut it here at an hour. Again, sorry we were not able to cover these teams as in depth as we were hoping. Our next show will be our Week 1 previews and predictions. So we'll see you then.